Do you feel that Sinners is your best work yet?
When you got heat,
that catalog is already crazy.
I can't judge it like that, bro. I can't sit on this podcast and answer that question. Like look, I had to like prescribe to a certain thought process just to keep myself sane and continuously productive. You know, bro, it's a school of thought, bro, where you know your cells are constantly like replenishing themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like just as you sitting here, so like you can make the argument that you know you're not the same person a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you shouldn't be.
And you shouldn't be, bro. And you shouldn't be. And that's a big thing, that I've had to fight, bro. Like it's funny because we talked about me moving from Oakland to Richmond. Like I've had people ask me, "Hey, bro, are you from like at the crib?" They used to ask me in a more threatening manner. You know what I'm saying? Are you from Oakland or from Richmond? You know what I'm saying? Like you know now people ask me in a manner that's prideful because they want to claim me. You know what I'm saying? And it's a struggle as a black man to actually have a nuanced conversation and say I'm actually from both places. You know what I mean? And it's a part of our circumstance and culture that we try to freeze ourselves in time. You know what I'm saying? Like to stay that, hey man, he changed, man, or he switched up. You know what I'm saying? Like these things that.
But you know, part of that is from a pride of being able to claim someone who's great.
It is, but it's also a little bit of it is a part of I would argue a little bit of it is a part of the short-sightedness that comes with being under attack from a government that's so powerful for so long that our life expectancy is shortened. You know what I'm saying? Like it becomes natural for you to not look around and see a lot of old men. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like see what it looks like to age. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To shift and to slow down and to gain new habits and new things that interest you. You know what I'm saying? So for me, bro, I can say to you that when I was 24, 25 years old, I made the best movie that I could when I made Fruitvale. When I was 27, 28, I made the absolute best movie I could as a 28-year-old when I made Creed. When I was 30, made the best movie that I could with Black Panther. When I was 35-ish, 34, 35, made the best movie that I could with Wakanda Forever. And when I was 37, 38, I made the best movie that I could at that time. With Sinners. Each time I was being the most honest that I could. I was doing the best that I could with what I had. You know what I'm saying? So and like look, bro, like I didn't have no kids when I made my first 3 movies. My second kid was born while I was making my second one. I just lost the person that the movie was you know, who played the titular role, you know what I'm saying, was going through a pandemic and you know what I'm saying, this movie was not made under those circumstances. I was also not a kid when I made this movie. Right. You know what I'm saying, which I was when I made Fruitvale. Like a lot of Fruitvale is my own youthful like idealism. You know what I'm saying? My naivety is in that movie. You know what I'm saying? I made this movie I made when I was damn near 40 years old. Like I got a pretty good idea of who I am, you know what I'm saying? Of what I like, you know what I mean? But I think it's a fool's errand for me to try to compare them, bro. And the reality is, bro, the movies ain't for me, bro. That's they for y'all now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I done had my 2 years with them and shaped them and now they y'all's, bruh. So y'all get to say, hey, man, I like this one better than that one. This one sucked, but I'll fuck with this one. You know, that's for y'all. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this then. Yeah. You said you didn't have no kids when you made your first 2 movies. How did fatherhood change the way you created your films?
Well, to be honest with you, my first movie made me want to be a father. You know what I'm saying? I made a movie about a young man who was murdered by a police officer. Cold blood on digital cameras. And the first thing he said when he realized he had been shot was, hey, man, I got a daughter. And me and this young man, Oscar Grant, rest in peace. You know, we was about the same age. You know what I mean? And I didn't have no kids.
Mm-hmm.
And while his daughter was 4 years old when he was murdered. And by the time I was making the movie, you know, she was like 8 years old, like old enough to have a full blown conversation with me about her dad. Man, that young woman has children of her own now.
Mm.
You know, so what I'm getting at.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and each milestone of her life, she has to be reminded that her dad is not there for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when I was breaking down a relationship, this fundamental relationship, you know, for Michael B. Jordan to portray it, you know, I was finding pictures, bro. This dude was taking his daughter everywhere.
Yeah,
he was taking her everywhere, bro.
Mm-hmm.
She was always with him. You know what I'm saying? And just the process of making that movie, I was like, oh man, bro, like I think I want kids. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know before then. You know what I'm saying? I was also like, bro, I think I want a daughter. You know what I'm saying? And then God ended up blessing me with one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Shortly after. And so yeah, bro. Like you know, each time I make a movie, it changes me, bro. You know what I mean? It opens me up to something and makes me realize something about myself. You know, but yeah, like making this movie as a father, you know, I put a lot of myself into it, man. And the character, this is spoilers.
Spoiler alert. But we go so through it.
Yeah. So for me, and this come from a conversation I had with another filmmaker who's from Brooklyn, who's from Bed-Stuy, still lives in Bed-Stuy. His name's Shaka King.
Of course. Shout out to Shaka.
Yeah, Shaka wrote and directed a film we produced called Judas and the Black Messiah. Still one of the artistic achievements that it was a defining artistic achievement for us to even be involved with that film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Us being Proximity Media, my wife Zenzi and my homie Sev's production company. We produced that with Charles King's Macro.
Absolutely. Shout out to Charles King too.
And shout out to Chairman Fred Jr. Chairman Fred Jr. in Chicago and Maywood. Big shout out to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was an intricate part of that process. And you know, for me, in our conversation with Shaka, I had one time, we were talking about how character can be formed through backstory, but the most elite form of characterization is through behavior.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like what is the character doing on screen? And we actually had that conversation talking about Michaela Cole's "I May Destroy You," which is a phenomenal example of that. Like you know, you never really hear what happened to these characters before, but you're seeing them do things.
Through actions, you see
them do actions, and you know, through our shared humanity, we can fill in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for me, you know, I went through these characters and I kind of defined, man, what are these guys? Like if you held them by the shoulders, what would they tell you they were if you asked them what they were? And then what is the lie? Like what do they think they are inside that they too afraid to say? You know what I'm saying? And for the twins, it was very important for me to define those things. And for Smoke, what he would say he is, if you grabbed him by the shoulders and say, "Hey man, what are you?" He would tell you, "I'm a soldier." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I am. He actually says it in the movie. The twins say what they think, what they would want to say they are in the movie.
Yep.
But deep down, what he is a father. You know, that's what he wouldn't articulate. You know what I'm saying? And that for me with the movie was, man, how much can I show that that's what he is to the audience before we get into that scene where he lays the flowers down on that grave. You know what I'm saying? Like how can we signal to the audience that this is what this guy is? So when you see him in every scene, that's what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's being a dad. You know, if that makes sense.
The film you portrayed in this movie, and I talked to Spike about it when he was here too, was like he felt like you created a new genre when you made.
That's what Spike said. Oh yeah, he did say that.
Yeah. So he felt like that. Like we said, like if you look,
norms, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you look on the TV guide, whatever, it might come up as horror.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many elements throughout that movie.
Well, the thing is, like, the movie had to be at war with the concept of genre. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had to wage war on that concept. just because of what the movie is about, with the movie being about music that was being made in the 1930s. You could make the argument that a lot of things are at war with blackness now. In 1930s, there was no argument. you know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely was a war.
Like it was, everything was at war with blackness at that time. You know what I'm saying? And the entertainment industry was no different. They were recording black people, and you know what the genre was for any music that came out of a black person's mouth at that time?
What was it?
Race records. That's what it was. Like it was classified as a race record. So you know, a black artist, Ma Rainey, she recorded a record.
Legendary,
yeah, that is a race record. When you go to the record store at the bar, you say, "Hey man, what a race record section?"
Yeah, Nina
You
Simone.
know what I'm saying? You pick it up there. You know, white person meant rock and roll, bluegrass, the country. Black folks, race records. Race records became blues, that became R&B, that became jazz, became gospel.
And then there's that magical scene in the movie where you're going through all those genres.
But the
hip hop.
But the thing is like the concept of genre is based off the human instinct to want to categorize. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as somebody is doing that, categorizing, it's a strong chance that black people finna end up on the shit end of the stick.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? As soon as you want to say, all right, this is because then you putting things in order and you adding value to certain things. And if you got a record store with one group of records, they can't all be in the front. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to go to the back of the record store. Well, guess where the race records are gonna go? The motherfuckers might be outside. Yeah. you know what I mean? And so in the music industry predates the film industry. You know what I'm saying? So the film industry is a new industry at the time when it was coming out. And what industries are they looking to? Oh, okay, with vaudeville, they do things a certain way, and the music business, they do things a certain way. Straight up, they got award shows for plays. They got award shows for music. Man, how do we make ourselves taken serious? Well, man, let's do what they do. Let's have an award. Like that's literally how it happens. So when they start to categorize movies with genres, okay, this is a horror movie. This is a drama. This is a comedy. You know what I'm saying? This is a documentary. Like when they start to do that, well, what happens? The ranking happens again, right? The associations, man. This is artistic, and this is bullshit. And this
you can't make the comedy get best picture.
No, you can't. All of these things start to happen. You know what I'm saying? And
fucking with the psyche.
Man, straight up. And then what happens when black people in these movies now?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's
a black movie. We can't take this serious.
It's a hood movie. Yeah. Or this is you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this, you know, you see where I'm coming from. For me to make a movie about inarguably America's greatest contribution to global popular culture. You know what I'm saying? If I was gonna make a movie about that, the movie had to kind of rage against the system that put this art form down and hid it in the closet and made it so that we don't really know the reality. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I like to that point, you didn't just do that with the story to me. Yeah. You didn't just do that with the quote unquote race records. Yeah. Right? That music, our music. You didn't do that to that. You did it to Irish folklore. Like you was tapping into all of these different quote unquote genres and sounds and voices and messages at the same time, right? And experiences, individual experiences with the body and the mind and the soul. Yeah. So one of my favorite one of my best scenes in that was when old boy said, he was talking about his voice. He was like, his voice, man, I need his voice. I will become complete if I get that. Right now, I'm not complete. So I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get that voice. And I'm going to go out on a limb. And if I got to kill myself, I got to kill you. I got to get that to make me complete. Yeah. When I saw that shit, I'm like, think about how many people out there today and just in a time that thinks like that and operate, whether it's for them or anything else. Like, I got to get what's yours. I got to get that because I need that. Yeah. Fuck you having it. I got to go get that.
And that can represent so many of the same things.
So it was super layered, right? And the fact that we're not just as a black community, black culture, musically dealing with something. The Asians is dealing with it. The whites is dealing with it. Like everybody is dealing with the same shit.
We are human beings, bro. You
so for you to like crack that, it's genreless. You get what I'm saying? This shit is genre. It's a musical.
Yeah.
It's part musical. It's entertaining. It's comedic.
I appreciate y'all commenting like this, man.
We just real. I'm a real fan. We real fans.
It's a beautiful movie, man.
But when you touch on certain touch points in American culture and American history, and Black history and Black culture, and if we're not able to see that and understand that and comprehend that as a Black community, then we got a lot more work to do.